Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapter 144. When we last left our heroes, Shiki rejected Shura's offer of friendship, on the grounds that he could not be friends with someone who was going to genocide all robots. And so Shura, in what he thought was this big dramatic irony, summoned a bunch of seemingly non-sentient bots to attack Shiki. Shiki, tearfully fought back, and won fairly easily, but Shura was able to go to the Eden Zero and attack them. And the Starshines are not doing too hot against Shura right now. Meanwhile, below the city, Team Weisz entered this sort of mirror-filled hallway. And when looking through one, Homura got possessed by what seems to be Milani's ether gear, which seems to be what the focus of this chapter will be, chapter 144, Through the Looking Glass. And we're going back to the in-depth character files for the first time since I think Belial Gore, with Jinn. An interesting thing here is that I've kind of been unsure if he's going by Jinn or back to going by Chris, now that he's sort of out of Draken's influence with his sister in a generally, better place than where he was a member of Rogue Out or Draken's gang. But this says his name is Jinn, nay, as in, formerly, Chris Rutherford. So it seems to be an X name. And so with that, I'm probably gonna keep calling him Jinn. I've been moving towards Chris. But I think I'm gonna call him Jinn. Anyway. His powers: Wind Ether Gear, Wind Rage, likes clean, dislikes any man who approaches clean, attack 5 stars, defense 3 stars, marksmanship 3 stars, ether power 3 stars, intelligence 3 stars, loves his sister 5 stars. I will say, this little blurb here makes it feel like Jinn has much more of a sister complex than they ever really pegged him for. Anyway, comes from a tragic past that resulted in his being made into a cyborg at a young age. He initially refused to open his heart to anyone, but I think that his sister, Miss Clean, has helped him warm up to Master and the crew. Mr. Jinn's Wind Ether Gear has such tremendous power, it's like a typhoon. Alright, it's what we all knew. Nothing real new there. But we open on the battle outside Neuro 66. Just a stream of explosions. As Oasis, I think it's Oasis here, fighting the Imperial Army. And the little bunny onesie guy, Russo. Yaha! We get the fun of battling in space and underwater at the same time! Only in the Aoi Cosmos, yo! And then the lizard guy, whose name I don't remember. We're not here to play, Russo. I know that! We're here to beat up a lousy, stinking Imperial Army! And then the brother, of the sibling duo, whose name I don't remember. Still, the ocean does feel awfully close. And his sister says, excuse me, it's almost high tide. Normally, this would be much more romantic. Okay. And her brother then says, reminds me of when we went to see it together. I mean, that's not explicitly incestuous, but it's not explicitly not incestuous, and I'm not quite comfortable with that. Okay. Anyway, she says, this time I'll watch it while fighting by your side. That's not so bad either. They're both blushing, I think. It feels romantic. I'm not misremembering right. They are supposed to be siblings, right? Right? Am I wrong? Let me be wrong. Please let me be wrong here. Because this just feels kind of weird. Because this is the official translation, right? There's no excuse for, a mistranslation thing. I don't know. Not super on board with that. Either way, Ibaraki interjects, if and so, quit it with the mushy stuff. And one of the bot members of Oasis, when Aoi skies are filled with seas, the lives of its androids will end. And Ibaraki snaps, we're fighting to make sure that doesn't happen. And then someone asks, how much time will we have when the tide reaches its peak? And then we cut back to the main ship, the main Coon, as Goodwin responds, "At high tide, all the networks in the Aoi cosmos will be connected. Then Shura just has to flip a switch, and all the bots in the Aoi cosmos will die. That's what the all-link system is capable of." Well, right now, Shura is at least a little bit distracted. We'll see if definitely not the Starshines, but even Shiki is strong enough to sort of keep Shura away from that for high tide to pass, which is admittedly all the Eden Zero crew has to do is like make sure that Shura is busy just for the length of high tide, which I'm not entirely sure how long that's supposed to be. I don't think it's been stated how long high tide is. Anyway, Eraser then comes online and says to Goodwin, "Yes, we are aware of that as well." And Goodwin snaps at him, "I don't know what you guys want, but this is our fight. Stay out of our way." And Eraser tells him, I'm not trying to get in your way. And we want what you want, to protect the Aoi cosmos. It's the right thing to do." And Goodwin sort of lets that sink in, that, I'm curious how much of that is Goodwin has spent so much of his life distasteful of the government, specifically being the Nero Empire, but the Nero Empire is kind of the government to him, but the IUA is also the government, and so Eraser is also working for the government. And I'm curious if that kind of discomfort is sort of getting transferred onto Eraser, or if I'm thinking too deep into it. Who knows? Anyway, Eraser continues, "Frankly, I'd rather not let a civilian organization get involved in a battle of this scale. But I respect your convictions and your passion. We fight together." And he gives a sort of like slight smile as Goodwin kind of grins. "Well, thanks for the help." And then Goodwin hangs up, and then says, "This should help us hold out a little longer. Now we just have to put our faith in the kids who went to Nero 66. And with that, it's time to go back to Nero 66. As Goodwin says, "We're counting on you, Eden Zero. Please, you have to stop Shura." And speaking of stopping Shura, or not stopping Shura, Shura is kind of grinning as the Starshines are basically unable to move. Sister tries to get up. I can't move." And Witch as well. "This gravity, it's not like that of the Great Demon King." And Hermit tries to call out to Shiki with some kind of like mental thing. "Shiki, can you hear me? Ether comlink, please work." And we see Shiki does hear as he's fighting the army of bots on the surface. "Shiki!" And that distracts Shiki, and he looks up. Hermit! Apparently not enough to actually do any real damage to him. We can only get bits and pieces of what Hermit is saying. "Trouble, back!" And Shiki yells, "Hermit, what's wrong? I can't hear you!" "The ship." And everything kind of clicks to Shiki, and he looks up. "The ship?" And he sees the explosions all around it. But he flies. "Hold on, I'll be right there." But now he is distracted, as one of the bots grabs him by the head and slams him down, and then all of them start dogpiling. This is a good time to use your gravity power, Shiki, and throw them all off. But Shiki tells them, "Give me a break, you guys." And just then, a clock, or a timer, on the chest of one of the bots starts to tick down from 3 minutes, and it speeds up instantly to 240 and then 132. Shiki and myself have a pretty good idea what's right about to happen. That thing's right about to blow up. "Long live Master Shura!" And it's very quickly, only at 3 seconds now. "Long live Master Shura! Activating self-destruct protocol." And with that, the bots all blow up. Shiki's certainly fine, but that's unideal, to say the least. Especially if this incapacitates Shiki in any way. Because the Starshines are not in a great spot right now. They can't really, Shura explicitly wants to break them. So I don't know who's left to get them out of this. I mean, maybe the ex-Draconites can come back, and help. Maybe, if they're not too busy with, the fighters, in Atmosphere. I don't know. Anyway, the explosion even knocks off, kind of affects one of the fighters. And Clean calls, "That explosion! What was it?" Maguna looks back. It came from where we dropped off Shiki. And Jinn, showing a good bit of character development here. "I'll go check it out." Like, Jinn is now going, in the midst of battle, leaving Clean to fight for herself, to check in on Shiki. Which, like, is not what I would have expected from Jinn, even, like, last arc. So there's some big development for him going on. But it's time to get to our title concept, Through the Looking Glass. And come in to the possessed, brainwashed something Homura, readying her blade in combat with Weisz and Rebecca. And Weisz yells, "Whoa, Homura, what's gotten into you?" And Rebecca asks, she looked in the mirror, then started acting strange. And Happy looks up. Is it an enemy ether gear attack? And then Pino says, "Oh, the location of Miss Homura's mole." Oh, it's like her reflection herself, like, swapped. That's what happens. Because her mole, as Rebecca tells us on the next panel, what? It's on the other side? Her mole is usually the left from our perspective, but her right eye. Or, no, it's normally on her right from our perspective, left eye. But now it's on the other one. I've honestly never even noticed the mole. Anyway, and then Weisz says, "And the way she's holding her weapon. She's left-handed now?" And Happy freaks out. "What's going on? Is that Mirror World Homura?" And Moskoy, playing the Shiki role, just extends his hand to Homura. And Pino calls, "Mr. Moscow, it isn't safe to approach her." But Moscow just says, "Even flipped horizontally, you are my friend." And then Mirror Homura just kicks him in the face. "Moskoy! Moscow!" And Moscow goes skidding across the ground. Mirror Homura then glares at Rebecca, who lets out, "Hey!" And Homura slashes at Rebecca. She barely jumps out of the way. And Weisz says, "Whoa, what can we do about this?" And Happy just, like, starts shouting directions to Pino. "Pino, use your EMP to get the enemies..." But Pino stops him. "I don't know the enemy's position. I cannot define parameters." And Rebecca starts to strategize. "I can go back 90 seconds if I use reverse. I might get back to just barely before she looked in the mirror. But if I don't know what caused this, then I won't be able to change anything. Worst case scenario, the mirror will get me, and I won't be able to use reverse anymore." I mean, I think that's still the best idea. I mean, it seems to me that Milani, or which, they don't exactly know which Ocean's member this is yet, but whoever it is was using that one mirror for their powers. But also, Rebecca is kind of right that maybe she can use any mirror, and she just happened to be using the one Homura was looking in at that moment. Maybe, possibly, I'm not entirely sure. So I get her concerns, even if those concerns might end up biting her in the ass. Anyway, Weisz, like, readies a rifle. "Smudge and blazes. Don't take this personally, Homura." And Rebecca calls, "Wait, Weisz!" But Weisz, sorry, I don't know why it took all three of them till I got the right name. "I'm using tranks," and he shoots at her. But Mirror Homura just cuts them all down. And Weisz kind of grins. "Right, bullets don't work on her." And then Happy tells Pino, "I know, use your EMP on Homura. That will give us the chance to hit her with tranquilizers." I was about to be confused about that, but I think what they're saying is use the EMP to stop her ether blade, and therefore she won't be able to, like, cut the tranks down. Though I'm curious if mirror ether works the same way, or if, like, the ether gear Mirror Homura is using is actually Milani's ether gear somewhere else, and that Homura is just kind of, it has the ether effect of Homura, but the actual ether is wherever Milani is. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, Pino goes for it. EMP, activate! And Mirror Homura is shocked there. As her sword disappears. It worked. The plan worked. Rebecca calls, Weisz, now! On it! Oh no. And he points the trank gun at Rebecca. And we see that look in his eyes. And he's been mirrorified. And Rebecca panics. Oh no! The mirror got Weisz too! Rebecca! Happy calls. But this time though, Rebecca knows what went wrong and when it went wrong. And so she's much more confident in using reverse. Rewinding time to right before Homura started her attack. Though keep in mind, if she goes back here again to this spot, she'll experience that cracking sensation from after her fight with Brittany on Foresta. So anyway, keep all that in mind as the battle begins again. And so Weisz, we come back to Weisz calling, Whoa, Homura, what's gotten into you? And Rebecca realizes when she is. Is it an enemy ether gear attack? And Rebecca chastises herself. No, I took too long. I didn't make it back to before she looked in the mirror. And Pino gives her past spiel. Oh, the location, Miss Homura's mole. But Rebecca cuts her off. Guys, we need to get out of here. And whatever you do, don't look at the mirrors. And Rebecca asks her, what about Homura? We'll figure it out. But for now, just get away from the mirrors. And then... so there's a very little bit of dialogue. As they run away, Moscow says, we're most friends. And Rebecca tells him, stay away from her. She'll kick you. And Homura just watches them leave. And our Homura her reflection looks at the mirror Homura. And bangs against the mirror. So, okay, let me find the words for this. Homura is, I think, in another dimension with this mirror as, like, the gate. And so there's a mirror connecting or showing her our dimension, and she's banging on that. What is happening? My image in the mirror is attacking my friends? And she looks, and there's a bunch of, like, text everywhere, but all the words are backwards because she's in the mirror realm. These letters are all backwards. It cannot be. Am I the one? But here's a question. Is she going to have to fight, like, Mirror, Weisz, and Rebecca? Because if her mirror self was originally here, which could be the assumption, that could mean that an evil Weisz, Rebecca, Happy, and Pino are there right now, which puts Homura in a much worse position. Instead, though, it seems like it's just Milani, who is in the mirror realm with her. Who's just kind of like lounging on a ledge. Yes, you are inside the mirror. Welcome to my world. And Homura asks her, who are you? I am Milani, one of the oceans. And who is the me out there assaulting my friends? Oh, her? The you from this world jumped out of the mirror. Milani activates her ether gear. You see, my hunting style is to pick off my prey one by one. I bring them to my world to shatter them. And Homura stomps her foot as she gets into like a battle pose. Is that so? I have but one hunting style. To strike down all who threaten my friends. And that's where the chapter ends, with Homura versus Milani being teased for next week. Okay, this is a really fun chapter. We get a little bit of a check-in with Oasis and Eraser forming a bit of an alliance. And it's nice that even that, like, they're all mature enough in the situation to be like, whatever our thoughts on each other are, we're on the same side. We don't like Shura. We don't want All Link to happen. So let's work together and not get in each other's way. So that's nice. And then we get that little bit with the Eden Zero, seeing how out of their league Sister Witch and Herman are. And Shiki tries to help, but then he gets an explosion for his troubles. Okay. Alright. Yeah. I mean, Shiki is... There's no real sense that Shiki will die. They're not even considering that. That's so not gonna happen. Because he's the main character. I mean, like, okay, I will say, he won't die permanently. I suppose there's a very, very minuscule chance this will be a repeat of the middle of Belial Gore when Shiki is killed by Draken, leading to Rebecca creating World 30. And so maybe this could lead into World 31, but that's a stretch if ever there was one. Most important, as I pointed out earlier, is Jinn's development, as Jinn is the one who separates from Laguna and Clean and goes to check out Shiki. Leaving his sister to fight for herself. Leaving his sister to fight for herself. You know what I mean? Which is good development on his part. And then we get to the meat of the chapter, Milani and Mirror Homura. And we see that Rebecca is, we see the results of Rebecca's experimenting back on Foresta, as she can kind of use reverse at will. She can only go back apparently she can only go back 90 seconds total, I think I'm reading that right. Because that's sort of Rebecca's idea. She directly says, I can go back 90 seconds if I use reverse. No one has really mentioned 90 seconds yet. So I'm guessing that's a limit. I'm not quite sure how far back in time she went back during the Brittany fight. I have to go back and look at that. But maybe that could have been 90 seconds. Either way, she's getting better at using her powers. And is no longer waiting until she's basically dead to use reverse, which is nice. Anyway, I'm curious if any limitations of reverse will come up in the Mirror Homura fight. I'm also curious if there will really be a Mirror Homura fight, because after that reverse, we cut to the Mirror Realm for what might be the actual crux of this part of the arc, Homura versus Milani, which could sort of I imagine if Homura beats Milani here, then the Mirror Homura fight just kind of goes away. There is no Mirror Homura if there is no Mirror Ether Gear user. And so maybe that's what'll happen instead. Either way, should be fun. I'm curious what other tricks Milani has up her sleeve, given that right now, the only ability you've seen of her is having a second dimension and being able to make, evil mirror versions of people. But that doesn't work much once you've got the once the person is in your mirror realm. Though maybe like I posited earlier, we will see Mirror Weisz and Rebecca and Happy and Pino in here, and Homura will have to fight all of them. That could be a cruel twist, as Homura declares her hunting style is striking down all who threatens her friends. So yeah. Anyway, really fun chapter. And I don't know. There's a lot to look forward to. I'm for some reason my mind is like floating back towards that Jinn's decision to go check on Shiki. And that's just some good subtle development. I'm all here for that. I'm here for Rebecca getting better at her powers, and I'm here for a Homura fight. So yeah, very, very excited for next week. But until then, we'll just have to wait and see. So I'm gonna leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!